Hey crafty friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky DIY, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba, Canada. I've just adhered our early espresso base, or matte layer I should say, to our card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And now we're going to get inky with a technique. I'm using sponge daubers. The colors that I've got today are Grey Granite, Pumpkin Pie, Pecan Pie, and Early Espresso. Looks like we're starting on a bit of a desserty trend right now. I am doing a faux barn board. So I've decided that the orientation of my card is going to be horizontal, and I will be using the Merry Christmas stamp. It does fit on a vertical as well, but I just want the extra space around it. So all of my ink movement is going to be the same way because I want it to look like barn board. If you had a barn board stamp, or you have the embossing folder, you could absolutely use that with this technique. I'm not being overly fussy with how I'm applying my ink. I basically just want to get it colored and layered up so that we can start building our barn board patina look. And the reason that I chose to use the basic gray instead of white or another color with this one was because I wanted it to be a little bit more warm. I didn't want it to have kind of that stark white undertone, even though the white will be mostly covered. If you want to use the embossing folder, it would be a really cool look to run this through first, and then the ink colors that you add will hit on top of that and give it just a little bit more warmth. Now, I am going in with the pumpkin pie. I'm not going to do it very heavily. I just kind of want this to give it a bit of a warm undertone. So I'm going to just hit a few areas and do maybe, I don't know, a not looking area or two. You do want to make sure that you're getting coverage side to side so it doesn't look uneven. But I am keeping all of my strokes running the same way. So you can either change up your sponge dauber between colors, or you can do like I am and just get most of the ink off between color applications. It's not really going to affect the ink color as you go up in the intensity of the color. And it allows the colors to blend just a little bit more. So I am going to add, I find that Pecan Pie is quite a warm tone. So I am going to add a good bit of that as I'm going. And then, it's kind of feeling a little bit warm, and it's kind of starting to feel a little bit like barn board. Now we're going to bring in our early espresso and go over the top. And then we're going to do another technique with the ink pads just to kind of ramp up that barn board kind of a feeling. You can see how it's really starting to make it feel kind of warm and a little bit weathered. Sorry, I'm really in the zone here with this ink application. It's making me feel very chill and sedate this morning. Okay. Now I'm only going, oh, I didn't close that one properly. I'm going to pick our lightest color and our darker color and just gently hold my ink pad at, I don't know, maybe a 45-degree angle, and then just drag it to give it sort of that streaky, weathered look. And that will also help blend in the colors. Actually, less than a 45-degree angle. Okay, it is adding color. The gray is very light. And as I'm going to do this next with our early espresso, you'll really start to notice that pop. I just sort of want to get a few little lines going on here. Actually, maybe we'll pull in a little bit of memento as well. Oh yeah, I like that. Was not planning to add memento today, but it was just sitting there and it just kind of felt right. And you want to make sure that you're not ignoring the edges. And then the last color that we're going to pull in is the early espresso. After we're done with that, we're going to hit it with our heat tool to get it nice and dry. Oh, I'm really liking this. You know, I've been at this for a while. It still surprises me when something that I decide to try actually turns out the way I wanted it to. Like, I don't know, it's my favorite. Not an inky day in the craft room if you didn't get covered, but that's what we started with and that's what we ended up with. And it's really quite cool and really quite amazing that just a little bit of ink can do this. All right, now we're going to pull in our heat tool. The reason that we're heating it up is because we're going to be adding Versamark and embossing powder. And I don't want the embossing powder anywhere but where I'm applying the Versamark. So actually, yeah, I think adding that little bit of memento really made it pop. I think I might be slightly addicted to this technique now. If you like techniques like this, or fun folds, or both, I've got 25 days of Make Merry going on right now. You can pop over to my website. I'll put the link down below. So you can take a look at that. We've done all kinds of fun folds and techniques. We've done patinas, we've done boxes, we've done faux denim. You can always jump in on that. Some of the cards are holidays, some of them are not. But you can take the techniques and the ideas and turn it into just about anything that you want to, because that's the magic of creating with stamps and ink and paper. You can totally change the look by changing the supplies that you're using. All right, I've got the metallic copper embossing powder that I'm just going to dump into my container. All right, the powder that was in here before is clear, so it'll be fine. We're just going to dump. Anybody have any ideas for uses for these little containers? I hate to throw them out, but I'm not sure what to use them for. Okay, we've got our stamp. We've got our Versamark. I like to apply my ink to the stamp like this so that I can make sure that I'm covering everywhere. Straight or slightly off? I think straight. So straight down, straight up, and then into our embossing powder. Oh, shoot. All right, I did not dry that well enough. So we are going to brush it off and dry it some more. As I send my piece of paper flying across the room. I've just got it on a piece of scrap paper and I'm just rubbing it with a piece of paper towel. To move this back. Now, if I knew where my embossing buddy was. Oh, look at that. Okay. All right, let's try this again. There are a few different layers here, so it does take a little bit longer. I just didn't give it enough time. Oops. Okay, there we go. Now, I haven't tried this, but I did hear somebody a while ago say that if you have an ink covered piece, if you hit it with your embossing buddy, that it won't stick. Now I am going to wash this, put that over there in my little cup so I don't forget that it needs to be washed. Okay. And here we go, back to the drawing board. Okay, I actually like making mistakes because I get to show you guys how to fix them. I am definitely let's see where we're going to end up, kind of a crafter. Please work. Oh, perfection. It actually did work. I'm impressed. Now, if you are wanting to, you can brush off any of the excess or just give it a bit of a tap. I'm actually okay with a little bit extra of the embossing powder sticking onto here because I think it'll add to that distressed look. Let's put our lid on before a crafter disaster happens, because in my craft room you know that that's just right around the corner. All right, and then I've got our extra little element there. Now let's watch some magic happen. Excuse me. So you want to keep your heat tool moving. Oh, I really love how this looks. It never gets old. When embossing powder starts to melt, it just makes my heart happy. And I think this copper color was exactly the right choice, or bronze, I don't know, whatever it was. All right. Oh, I really love this. Okay. So that's it for the heat tool. If you wanted to, you could drag the probably early espresso around the edges just to give it a little bit more depth and dimension. But I actually think I'm okay with how this looks. Oh, that copper is not quite melted. I'm just going to brush it off. You can tell by look and by feel when your embossing powder is melted. If there's any areas that look dull, hit it with your heat gun again and it'll be perfect. Okay, now because it's not going to be flat, because we hit it with the heat tool, I'm going to add a little bit more adhesive all the way around. Okay, I've been waiting for this roll of adhesive to run out for literal days. I have one at the ready, but I don't know. This is like the magic one because I can see the orange, but it's still going strong. Okay. We're going to put this slightly off center. Oh, I really love this. And I cut out this little guy, but I don't know. I don't know that it needs it. I kind of like it just the way it is. Maybe I'll stick it on the inside. Yep. Always check to make sure which way your fold is going before you put your sentiment on, or your front layer. All right, well, dang. Oh well, all right. You know what? I am not going to tempt fate with this one because I really do not want this to tear. So we're just going to trim it. And I actually noticed that we've got a little bit extra beige at the top. So we're going to trim that. Oh my goodness. You know, it's been a very crazy few weeks in my world. What size is this? Should be 4 1/4. So we're going to score this guy at 5 1/2. Score blade, not trimming blade. We're going to grab what was the back of our card, and we're going to create that as our center panel. And we're going to do that at 4 inches by 5 1/4. Oh my gosh. I am absolutely ridiculous sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, stick around. You never know what's going to happen. Chances are pretty good that everything's going to go off the rails at some point. I should start taking bets as to when that's actually going to happen. Because it does happen, and it will happen. And I think we're going to use that on the inside. I don't want to put it on the outside. I like the way the outside looks. Okay. Oh my goodness. And we're just going to line. This was actually just the edge piece from the Traditions of Christmas Designer Series paper. And speaking of magical, this paper, it doesn't matter how much of it you use, it feels like it sticks around forever. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now we're going to put this panel on here. Still got a little bit of it. What I did will add a little bit of extra weight to it, but it'll still go through the slot of doom at Canada Post. Okay. And it's the same color, so it's not terribly noticeable, but there is a little bit of a runaround. I don't know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So if you wanted to give it a little bit of extra dimension, you can pop it up on dimensionals. Do I have any close? Because I might actually do that. No, I don't see any on my desk right now. I'm getting ready for this weekend's class, so a lot of what I normally have on my desk is tucked away. Okay. Oh my good. Okay. Card opens to the left. We're going to line up on the left-hand side, aim for center, and down we go. All right. Success. Our card is done. Really quick, well, minus the mess ups, but you can use a ton of color combinations. So you can kind of see a little bit of the warmth of the pumpkin pie poking through. Pecan pie is there. I just had a thought. You could also just run it, create panels. If you run it through your score tool, you can create barn board looks. But on my barn, we have, I don't know, 4 to 6 inch pieces. So I'm just going to pretend that this is one big solid piece of barn board. And I've got these guys sticking around here. I think I might, this little splotch is kind of bugging me a little bit. So I think I'm just going to add a couple of these around. I wasn't going to add embellishments because it's pretty enough on its own. But there we go. The sequins just finish it off and hide the part that I don't really love. All right, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you sticking around with me for a while. Starting on November 25th, I'm going to be doing 5-minute magic makers. Super quick, super easy projects for the holiday season. I'm going to be doing 5 of them on YouTube, and I'll also be posting onto my Facebook page. But pop down below and get onto my email list because I will have 5 extra projects just for my email subscribers as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.